In the quiet village of Ecuador, in Delta State, where red dust clung stubbornly to bare feet and gossip traveled faster than the harmattan wind, lived a girl named Amara. She was known for two things: her beauty and her poverty. Amara's beauty was the quiet kind, the type that revealed itself slowly: the softness of her eyes, the calm dignity in the way she spoke, the patience she carried like an old burden. Her poverty, however, was loud. It announced itself in her faded dresses, her cracked slippers, and the way she often returned from the market with unsold vegetables balanced on her head. Amara lived with her widowed mother in a leaking mud house at the edge of the village. Her father had died years earlier, leaving behind debts and unanswered promises. Since then, life had been a daily negotiation between hunger and pride. Amara had dreams once. She wanted to become a nurse, maybe even leave the village someday. But dreams are fragile things in places where survival comes first. So when the elders summoned her mother one hot afternoon and announced that Amara had been chosen for marriage, there was no celebration. Only fear. The man she was to marry was called Musa. He was poor, even by village standards. He lived alone in a small, unfinished house on the outskirts of the neighboring town. People said he was quiet, withdrawn, and strange. No known family, no visible ambition, no wealth. Worse still, the elders insisted the marriage must happen quickly. The reason soon became clear, and it was scandalous. A powerful local politician had begun taking interest in Amara. He had sent gifts, made promises, and whispered threats. The elders feared disgrace, they feared consequences, so they decided to hide Amara behind marriage. Musa, poor and insignificant, was the perfect shield. Amara cried that night until her eyes burned. She begged her mother to refuse, but her mother only held her and whispered apologies. Hunger has a way of silencing resistance. A week later, Amara was married under a mango tree, with borrowed wrappers and forced smiles. Musa barely spoke during the ceremony. When he finally looked at her, his eyes were calm, almost sad. Their marriage began in silence. Musa's house had no furniture beyond a mat, a small stove, and a wooden box he kept locked at all times. He left early every morning and returned late at night, sometimes with dust on his shoes that did not match the village roads. He never explained where he went. Amara assumed he did odd jobs. She cooked, cleaned, and endured. The village laughed at her. They mocked her fall from beauty to misery. The politician stopped coming, but rumors replaced him. Some said Amara had bewitched Musa. Others said she would soon run away. Then something strange happened. Money started appearing. First small amounts, then larger ones. Musa would hand her cash without explanation. Clean, crisp Naira notes. When she asked questions, he only said, "We will talk when the time is right." Then came the first shock. One evening, two black SUVs rolled into the dusty compound. Men in suits stepped out. The entire village gathered. Musa emerged from the house dressed differently: sharp, confident, unrecognizable. The men bowed slightly when they greeted him. Amara stood frozen. That night, Musa told her the truth. He was not poor. He was one of the youngest private investors in Nigeria, with interests in oil servicing, logistics, and real estate. Years earlier, his family had been destroyed by greed and betrayal. He disappeared, rebuilt himself quietly, and returned under another name. Ecuador was meant to be temporary. Amara was never part of the plan, but the real twist was darker. The politician who had been stalking Amara was one of the men responsible for Musa's family's downfall. Musa had recognized the name instantly when the elders spoke. The marriage was not coincidence, it was fate and opportunity. Over the following weeks, everything changed. Musa moved Amara out of the village without explanation. Newspapers exploded with headlines. The politician was arrested for corruption, land fraud, and embezzlement. Hidden recordings surfaced. Bank accounts were frozen, property seized. The scandal shook the state. Then came the final revelation: Musa had orchestrated it all. He had used the marriage to protect Amara and to bait his enemy into exposing himself. Amara was not just a wife, she was the trigger. When Musa finally asked Amara for forgiveness for the secrecy, the manipulation, the fear, she surprised him. She did not cry, she did not shout, she told him the truth. She said the pain of poverty had prepared her for silence, but love required honesty. She told him she had married a stranger and survived, but she would not live as a pawn. Musa listened. For the first time, he listened fully. Months later, they returned to Aquador, not with arrogance, but with purpose. The mud houses were replaced with brick. A clinic was built. Scholarships were awarded. The elders, who once traded Amara's fate for safety, bowed their heads in shame. As for Amara, she stood tall, no longer the poor village girl, no longer the helpless bride. She became a woman who understood power, pain, and choice. She chose to stay, she chose to forgive, she chose to build. And in a village where dust once told stories of suffering, the name Amara was finally spoken with respect.